Want a metal scream but you're a complete beginner? Worried you'll blow out your voice in 5 minutes? Kinda self-conscious about your neighbors or roommates hearing you? Good news, you're not alone. My name's David, and here's how I used to sound. And after years of trial and error with multiple coaches, I struggled big time. But now I sound like this. Look at my wrist in black, my eyes. Look at my wrist in black, my eyes. So I can't. Since then, I've been teaching screaming full-time since 2019, helping over 2,000 students learn to scream safely and unlock this raw, primal form of self-expression. Some of them even went on to start bands. The best part? You don't need to be born with it. You don't even need prior singing experience. So in the next 10 minutes, I'll show you how to overcome the biggest beginner mental barriers, how to tell which screams your favorite vocalists are doing, and 4 easy, safe, and fun ways to unlock these screams. Quick note, a lot of students tell me they feel anxious practicing because their roommates or parents might hear. And that's totally normal, I went through that too, but here's what will make you feel better. First, screams don't have to be that loud. Watch how quietly I can do them. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. A, B, C, ah. If you're still nervous after hearing that, practice in your car or while going on a walk. A little creativity and resourcefulness here goes a long way. Okay, let's dive into the biggest mental barrier that stops beginners before they even open their mouth. The fear of ruining your voice. I remember hearing horror stories of vocalists needing surgery from screaming. So naturally, this made me worry that learning to scream was too high risk and too dangerous. But here's the thing. If you don't feel safe, you won't experiment. And if you don't experiment, you won't find the sound. Most people think that any weird sensation equals damage. But here's the truth. The thing that actually hurts you is yelling. As long as you avoid yelling, you can safely explore at quiet volumes. So for now, keep everything at or below talking volume, not stage volume. This next mental barrier doesn't stop beginners from starting, but it definitely stops them from continuing. They'll try to scream, but if they don't think they're getting it or progressing, they'll start to think that maybe screaming's just a thing some people can do while others can't, like how some people just have double-jointed thumbs. And that thought alone made me quit over and over for 10 years. It took a full-on quarter-life crisis for me to finally say, you know what? I'm gonna figure this out before I die. And that started a 4 to 5 year journey of trying every teacher I could find until I finally broke through. Here's the truth. Every screamer you love has the exact same instrument you do, a normal pair of vocal cords. So I promise you can do this. And it doesn't take 15 years, you just need to get your tissues to coordinate in the right way. Warm-ups, do you need them? Every teacher I learned from taught me to warm up, and for a long time, I taught warm-ups too. But after years of coaching, I realized they're not as essential as people think. So for example, can you make this sound with your lips? You probably didn't need to warm up to do that. You just tried and eventually got it. Screaming works the same way. You're essentially just doing that, but instead you're doing it in your throat. So if you're a beginner, don't overthink warm-ups, just focus on noise making. Okay, now let's start actually talking about screams. So there's a lot of different types of screams that exist, but chances are all of your favorite vocalists' screams can be reduced to the same 1 or 2 different techniques. So first I'm going to introduce them and train your ear so you can identify what your favorite screamers are doing. After this section, we're going to do drills to unlock them. This first type of scream is what I taught Nick, and this is how he used to sound. But after we put in some work together, this is how he sounded after. Myself, my world, my people, I owe my... This type of scream is really good for getting really high, really low, and singing through it like Chester from Linkin Park. Some other bands that use this scream are Lorna Shore, Pierce the Veil, and Spirit Box. And when you do the scream, in my opinion, it sounds smooth, wet, and gurgly. And it's made by holding your vocal cords together and sputtering them together. This is called a fry scream. Now, there's different types of fry screams. Here's a couple of examples. 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! Now on the other hand, there's another scream that is far louder, crunchier, and has more of a tough sound. You coward! You coward! This scream is really good if you want to get a Slipknot, Slaughter to Prevail, or Knocked Loose sound, or Korn. This type of scream uses something called your false chords, or your vestibular folds if you want to sound fancy. And this is called a false chord scream. Here are a couple of examples. Okay, let's get into actually doing these exercises to find these screams. Keep in mind, there are an infinite amount of ways to pull all of these screams off, but these are just some to start. Fry. So the most commonly taught way of getting into your fry is to first start by making a light door creaking noise. Once you have that, try and push from your stomach and turn that into a much stronger, fuller sound. Now, I have my gripes with this approach, but it does work for enough people that this is a viable strategy. For another fry approach, act like you're puking. If you get a wet, gurgly sound, try and hold on to that, because that's one type of fry scream. False chords. So the most commonly taught way people try and use to get into their false chords is to first start with a deep, exasperated, frustrated sigh. If you feel a crunchy sound, then you're starting to activate your false chords. If you feel that, then you want to push harder from your stomach and add a bit of yell, hey, to make that louder. Now, since I'm the slowest learner in the world, this method never worked for me personally because I'd run out of breath and I wouldn't sound as distorted as I wanted. But like I said, this does work for enough people that you should give it a shot first. A different way of finding your false chords is that you can first close your mouth and clear your throat while trying to make it as nasal as possible. If you do this right, you should get kind of a crunchy sound. And if you get that, then try and open your mouth while maintaining that crunchy sound. And that crunchy, rumbly sound is what we're looking for. Now, this is really important. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all method that works for everybody for unlocking all these screams. If these approaches don't work after 10 minutes, that's completely normal. Try a different approach. Screaming has an infinite amount of approaches. You just need to find one that works for you. And if you want to try some other approaches, then I have plenty of videos that go over a bunch of different approaches that I'll link to at the end of this video. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is thinking that more force and more stomach push will fix everything. Yes, breath support does help, but if the sound isn't there yet, more air just blows it apart. Instead, find the distortion quietly first, then add support. Well, what about inhale screams? This is a controversial topic. Some teachers I've had swear that inhale screaming will collapse your lungs and cause great damage. But remember, I've taught screaming full-time since 2019, and I've personally never seen that happen. Also, plenty of vocalists have been doing inhales for 20 plus years, and their voices are fine. So if you want to try it, I say go for it. You can make some wild sounds with them. Now, personally, I think exhales sound fuller, so that's what I personally prefer. Okay, so now remember, all this is just the starting point. If you still have questions, that's normal. You might be asking yourself, well,
my screams feel dry, scratchy, or whispery. How do I fix that? Or what if I run out of air? How do I go higher, lower, or add pitch? Can I combine fry or false chords? How do I do gutturals, pig squeals, tunnel throat? How do I sound like Chester? How do I sound like Alex Terrible? Where do I go from here if I'm making the scream sounds, but I want to say words?
All those questions are completely normal, and I got you. So here's the thing. If you feel like you're making the noises correctly, then watch this video to start saying words with that distortion and using that distortion to cover full songs. If you need help fixing your screams, then check out this video for fry problems or check out this video for false chord problems. Whatever situation you're in, you got this, and welcome to the wild, weird world of metal screaming.